All right, now we're gonna do part 2. Since some of you really like part 1, let's go. What's up, Ladder?
What's up?
It prevents you being an absolute slave, so they're trying to destroy it. But even those degenerates who are trying to mock and disgrace God understand there's a point where it just backfires and, ooh, this is smoke. And they don't want the smoke. And shouldn't God be feared? I'm scared of God. It's the only thing I fear. I fear God. They can put me in jail. I know I'm telling the truth. God's on my side. I fear God. So God should be feared. So once again, does anybody fear the Christian God? I haven't seen anybody scared of him in a long time. And it's kind of crazy because it's very interesting.
Yeah.
The mass migration and all these things are leftist policies, but then also Islam is the most right-wing religion.
Yeah,
on
that's
earth.
ironic.
It's kind of very interesting. I grew up
Right. But they don't dare attack Islam. I mean, not yet, at least.
in England, and I grew up in Luton, which is a town which is mainly Muslims. It's a huge Islamic community. And there was a bunch of English people who were complaining about there's too much immigration, we're losing our culture. And I understood their point absolutely. But these are the same people complaining about all the left-wing LGBT in schools, all these issues. And I was like, the only allies you have against this are the Muslims. They're the only allies you have in any of this. The Christians don't protest against any of this stuff. The Christians don't. There's very few Christians who will get up off their ass and complain. In fact, I saw on Twitter yesterday, one of the churches was lit up in rainbow. I have nothing against
Yeah,
it.
like Biden's White House.
All right.
I mean, that's not a church, but you know, it's ridiculous. They tried to take back some of it. Like they said, Biden condemns
the topless
topless tranny who showed its breasts.
A little too late, right?
Yeah, but it's like, be you, man. That's who you are. That's who you lefties are. Degenerate, completely obsessed with sex. You know? That side is so into sex, it's ridiculous.
I don't care. And that's actually another point I want to make into about this thing. I think most people don't care, and I think that bothers them. Have you ever had an argument with a girl, and she's like stropping around the house, she's huffing and puffing, and you just don't give a shit? So she has to keep upping the ante till you eventually go, what's the problem? Because she tried the low-level stuff, and you didn't care. I kind of feel like this has a remnants of that. I'm gay, cool. I want to get married. Fine. I want to wave my dick in your kid's face. Whoa, 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 whoa. It's like,
That's hilarious. Well, that's true. Nobody cares. Be gay. Be a troll under a bridge. Fuck, I don't know. Be a fairy. Be whatever you like. But don't do it with kids, and don't do it on the fucking street. When people are walking, going to the stores and shit, you got somebody's ass in your face. Pride. You know what I mean? What the fuck? And when they do these drag story times. Hey, what's up, Ashman?
What's up?
We finally got the Shisha.
Yeah. Nice.
The drag ones talking to the kids. I said this to you yesterday. We saw some shit. A drag guy talking to kids, And I said to you, you see, he's sitting there with a wig, makeup, and a dress. But take that all away.
Yeah.
It's a pervert talking
It
to
is.
kids.
It is.
You
And
know?
also with the voice, they're making their voice like, hi.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
your name? You take away all the things you said,
Yeah.
that would just be a creep.
Yeah, but they know, because they know if a woman sits down and talks to a kid, nobody cares. So they're like, okay, let's try to look like women and then talk to kids.
Yeah.
And then it will be okay. Because they know if I look like a dude talking like that to kids, the police will be knocking. The police should be knocking anyways, but
whoa, 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 whoa. I feel like they tried to annoy us, and we're like, we don't give a shit. Do whatever you want. Be a person. We don't care.
Point.
And now they're like, okay, well, we have to get to a limit where they have to react. Yeah. We want attention now. We want them to care about
What's
this.
the right move on that?
Well, that's the point. It's difficult. Because there comes a point where you simply have to address it, and
So
now you have to oppose it. And this is, sorry to interrupt you, but this is why they're so careful and so clever with what they do. They package it all together. LGBTQ. I would argue, I don't know what Q is, firstly. Sorry. I don't know what Q
Questioning.
Q. All right. I would argue that G and T are very different things.
Beyond.
A gay man and someone who's chopped the dick off are very different things.
Yeah.
So they package it all together.
I think he meant GLGB.
Right. Yeah.
The T is like outside. It's LGB that is different from the other one.
So now, because the spectrum of your enemy is so large, you have people who are fully this way. You have people who we accept and are normal in society. We have no problem with gay people. And they put it all together. You're an enemy of all these people. And they complicate the argument and they mix it all together. And now you're a bigot. And really you just want your kids to be left alone. Really you just want to leave the children alone. Of course. So all you want to do is leave your kids alone. And then it's like, okay, I'm now raising children. I have more children than most people would believe. How do I protect my children from this insanity? God. Which God can protect my children? Allah, Islam. I'll move them to Dubai or Saudi Arabia, and none of this will happen. Can I trust a Christian nation? Some of them. Romania is a Christian nation, and to a large degree, they oppose quite a lot of this stuff. But they're also NATO.
Yeah, but they're part of the European Union, so they're not able to oppose it as much as they would like to, probably.
Oh, you think that's why?
They have to. It's the European Union law. They control everything here.
Yeah, like does the government or whatever give the churches money or something? Like, is it part of the government in a country?
I don't know how it works in Romania, but here in Sweden, you can choose to give part of your tax to the church.
Yeah, but what I mean is this: if a government is with the LGB whatever, and the church says we don't care about that shit, we don't want that shit in our church, will they then lose money and shit?
Yeah, probably.
So then that just means it's a matter of time until that church is just a pride.
Yeah,
building.
and you're only giving your tax money to the Swedish church, like to the Swedish church, Protestant church. So all the other religions, they have to apply for the money if they want.
They also rely on bailouts and grants and money. And on a long enough time frame, even in the 7 years I've lived here, I have watched certain attitudes change because money buys influence and power.
So Andrew, not to cut you off, how much of you converting from Christianity to Islam is actually the belief in God versus the societal pressures that are facing children? Because it seems like it's a little bit of both.
For you to believe in God, you have to respect Him. How can I believe and put my life in the hands of someone I don't respect? And I'm going to respect a God which is feared.
Yeah, but it's a vertical relationship, right? It's not a horizontal.
But I would say, for me, it does not really matter if it's the Islamic God or Christian God or whatever God, because there is only one God. You know what I mean? So if you believe in God, you better respect God no matter what it is. You know what I mean?
If you base it horizontally, they're going to disappoint you. If you think about, if you're going to believe, let's go believe Prophet Muhammad, his teaching, and let's go believe the Bible, NIV, and Jesus, Father, for God so loved the world that he gave his, you gave your son for me. Let's say that's true, and you're doing it based on faith. Who would do such a thing for me? What a level of sacrifice for you to do that. Who am I for you to be so worried?
But this thing, what he says, he gave his son. Is that really anything like, wow? I mean, God can create a gazillion sons if God wants to. Is that such a big sacrifice? You know what I mean? For God.
Yeah, aren't we all God's children?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, God can create exactly what God wants, how many times God wants, how many, anyways.
About me. If you look at it from that angle, it's not necessarily coming from a place of fear. It's coming from a place of grace. It's coming from a place of love. It's coming from a place of,
absolutely,
a different field. Because I do believe the part that upsets me is the fear aspect. That they're allowing others to mock your God, to mock Jesus, to mock whatever religion it is you're a part of, and you're kind of like, oh, they're just funny, man. No,
again, mock your God is wrong. Mock God. That should be the thing. Allowing people in general to mock God, no matter whatever religion it is. Just, there is only one God, so mock God should be.
Not funny. You just crossed the line. Like Jay-Z has that one line where he says, don't tell me why the guy what the guy said about me. Tell me why he was so comfortable saying it to you.
100%.
You tell me why he's so comfortable to you. So I think that's the part about faith. I understand when you're saying the fear and the respect side. So that's the part where fear is needed. I totally agree. Yeah. But the part where you were making a point about LGBTQ, you're like, I don't even know what Q stands for, it's questioning. And then you're like, well, gay, okay, cool. Trans, listen, man, spectrum.
So wait. So Q stands for questioning. So
Doesn't it stand for queer?
no, I think they have a Q that is for questioning. I've seen somebody pull that up. So, okay, then I'm part of that shit. I question shit. I question you guys. But I bet I won't be allowed to question you guys. You know what I mean? It's not that inclusive. You know what I mean?
And he said if we were to say which religion's the far right, it's going to be Muslim. Totally get it. They're on the far right. Christian today is kind of going center left today. Like they're kind of being soft right now. Okay. So if I want to raise my kids, I'm going to take my kids to, Dubai, and I'm going to take my kids to Saudi Arabia. Why? Because I'm defending against some of these immoral philosophies that they have. Yeah. I don't want to go there. I actually understand that argument.
Yeah, and I want to make one more point. I do believe there is one God, and I believe there's many different paths to God. And I'm not a religious scholar, and I'm not an expert on Islam. I'm doing my best, and I'm reading the Quran as often as I can. And it does say that Christians on the day of reckoning will see how close they were to the truth. And we are allies. We are not enemies in any regard, Christians and Muslims. And I do believe that the idea of Christians and Muslims shaking hands and saying, let's put an end to all of this garbage would be fantastic.
I've been saying this shit. Unite, and then let it be in the hands of God. Because it's always in the hands of God. I don't care what any human says. You can't decide for God. You might be going to hell thinking you're going to heaven. You know what I mean? Not saying you are. But, how do you know? Yeah. Maybe God thinks something of you that you don't, think he does. But he does. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Anti-Christian in any regard.
But I also think the war between different religion is more politics than the actual religion. I don't think people, real people, really care if your neighbor is a Muslim, is a Jew, is a Christian. Nobody gives a shit, really. Most of the people I've seen living together or close to each other with different religion respects one another, helps out. So I think it's... the idea that there's so much conflict is created by the elites or whatever you say and the politics.
Yeah.
Because also I think that if you really believe in God and whichever path you want to take to God, you still have the feeling of respecting other people no matter what they believe.
Exactly, because a Christian can never force a Muslim to become a Christian and vice versa.
I remember a few years ago, I don't know if it was during the Arabic Spring or something, I don't remember, saw a beautiful clip of Christians standing in a circle to protect the Muslim that were praying.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were forming a circle to protect them. And then I think I saw a clip the other way around. Muslims protecting Christians for going into church and doing their prayer. So I think on the normal level, people to people, we don't really care. As long as you respect me and I respect you, we help each other out.
And nobody forces shit on each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like, these pride people, they're forcing that shit.
Yeah, that's a force, yeah.
Anything done by force is grape. And it's also illegal in the eyes of God. Anything done by force.
I found myself as I became more and more religious, seeking and looking for a faith which not only I could be proud of, but a faith which was guiding in regards to, I don't know what a Christian would answer to certain questions nowadays. What does a Christian answer to? I'm a transsexual and I want to show your kids my genitals. What's a Christian? Well, a Christian's supposed to say no, do they? I know what my Muslim friends would say.
This is super true. Yeah. You don't know.
No.
They're like, yes.
I don't know. If you're a Christian, I don't know how you're supposed to
use our church as a pride building.
To act. I don't know what you're supposed to do. I don't get it anymore.
The true believer says
the true believer. The true believer. Yeah. But how many are true believers? I don't know. I see all over Twitter, all these churches are losing their minds. It seems very complicated. Islam seems very, very simple. You know what's right, you know what's wrong.
I have a question regarding, we talked about tolerance and acceptance. And the other end of that is extremism. Yep. So I'm a Jew, Christian, newfound Muslim, respect, look at us all hanging out here.
Yeah, it's the beginning of a joke somewhere.
We're talking about acceptance.
Because think how powerful it is if Islam and Christianity come together. You're doubling up your army, man. against Satan.
I have gay friends, I have lesbian friends, I have bisexual. Okay. The T stuff is what it's kind of like, all right, what's actually even happening here? You know, I'm not a, this is not my wheelhouse nor any of our wheelhouses, but one could argue that, you know, on the opposite end of the acceptance and the tolerance is like absolute extremism. And I'm sure the allies of the LGBT will point to Islam and point to the Middle Eastern countries and point to the North African countries that have Islam as a...
And also, he said allies. You better look at the words they're using. Allies are used, that's words used in combat. You're my ally, you know, in war. And those people are talking in that way, the T people. They're like, be an ally. The fuck?
Religion and say they are the most extreme when it comes to LGBT. They say that it should be illegal to be gay. And in some countries, you should be killed if you are gay. This is just, I'm just pointing out stats.
You're right, and it's a super interesting argument because I will sit here and say that I guarantee in most Islamic countries there are gay people, and I guarantee that they have gay relationships, and nobody cares as long as they're not trying to inflict on the children. It's illegal to walk down the street and do indecent things in front of children. But I guarantee if you were gay in a lot of these countries, privately, nobody would care because they're trying to preserve the family unit. And to a degree, you have to always protect innocence. When you were talking about extremism, I would be friends with a gay person. Yes, I'm a Muslim, but I would be friends with a gay person because if a full-grown man decides to make a decision, it's his decision to make. But I must protect innocence as a man, so I must protect children. If two full-grown men decide to have a fight, let them fight. If a full-grown man decides to pick on a kid, that's unacceptable. So I
have to say this. He says, you know, if you're privately gay, it's okay. And maybe it used to be that way in the Western world too, right?
Absolutely,
and then the gays said, but we want to be able to be openly gay, just like straight people can be openly straight. Fine. But I have to say it, though. Look at what happened when they allowed that. You know what I mean? It would have been one thing if if he was openly gay and that was it. But now you was openly gay and then you destroyed the society.
But I wouldn't really blame it on the gay people, you know. I think that people took the opportunity to ride on that wave.
I know, but I'm saying if you're gay or lesbian or whatever, you should be fighting against this shit because this is making you look bad.
Yeah, but a lot of them are. At least now.
I know. I'm just saying. I
must protect innocence. So I agree with the extremism point, but I have no problem with full-grown men doing what they want to do. Maybe some Islamic scholar is going to watch this and get mad at me. I don't have a problem with gay people and being friends with a gay person. I don't care. My problem is when you take a person who's unarmed, who's innocent, who is programmable like a child, and start inflicting your worldview on them. That is disgusting and it's immoral. That is unfair and it can't be accepted on any level. And that's the reason homosexuality is genuinely outlawed in these countries. Not because they fear what two full-grown men are going to do. They fear what's happened in the West. So two full-grown men are going to purport on the minds of children which aren't theirs. That's what they're afraid of.
You know, I don't know if you saw the interview. CNN is interviewing this in Africa. And I have the video. I don't want to play the video.
The leader.
Yes.
And he's talking about democracy.
He says democracy. He says, look, you can do whatever you want to do. He says, what do you think about gays? And his reaction was like, what do you mean? What they do? I don't agree with what they do. Yeah. You think that's okay? Anyways, he's giving his argument, right? And the lady's reaction is like, how could you? He says, look, you keep your beliefs to you. Do not bring it to our country here, right? The challenge goes back to, remember how you're like the girl that you're dating was like, so what happened? I asked you to bring the oranges from the store. How come you didn't bring it? Yeah, I forgot. Hey, so how about this? And you know, that's why you love your mom more than you love me. And you're like, oh, shit, you're getting around them and now there's a fight, right? Okay. Well, is the mistake being too tolerant from the beginning? Is the mistake being too accepting from the beginning? Is the mistake of, like the fear when I talk to Second Amendment guys and the fear about, well, what's wrong with them doing background checks? What's wrong with them doing this? He says, look, that's how it starts. You give them the background checks, then they're going to come for everything. Oh, you're over-exaggerating. No one's coming for your guns. Well, you also said 20 years ago, Hillary Clinton, marriage is between a man and a woman, and the sanctity of marriage 20 years later. So that is...
Because it's funny what he's talking about here. I saw a little small video on Twitter in the 80s, in the early 80s, when they outlaw...
Drinking in the car?
Yeah. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see the full. I saw.
There was this girl in the car. They were interviewing her in the car when this new law that you can't drink anymore when you drive. Yeah. And she was like, now they outlaw drinking and driving. We can't even have a beer in the car. And I have to have this seat belt as well. I mean, we're going into communism. I was like...
That's how it starts.
Yeah, maybe at that time, people were like, are you ridiculous?
Yeah, but that's the start.
I know, but when I look at it from now... I'm like, motherfucker, you're right. Yeah. That's That was the,
For your safety,
beginning.
the beginning of for your safety.
Yeah, it reminded me of that.
It's the fear where one must watch this as a case study. Say somebody starting a new country and saying, look, here's where we stand. These are the laws we're not touching. We're not going to be doing X, Y, Z. You've been too tolerant, and now you're paying a price for it, and now you're reacting to it.
And that's exactly why you completely nailed it. If you give an inch, they take a mile, and that's why I think in a lot of these countries they have it's officially illegal. They're actually quite tolerant of it, more than you'd believe. I'm telling you, you can go to Jordan and your waiter will be a bit fruity. You can tell. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit, right? But they have it officially illegal to prevent it ever bleeding out into actually affecting the mindset of society. You can do what you want, you're a full-grown man, but society is based on family, traditional family values. That's how our society is based. That's how we show ourselves to the world, and that's not going to be affected or changed.
I was going to say that's why you see you talk about the collapse of Western society, specifically America. You see decline in values. Wall Street Journal came out with that article that said family values plummeting, religion plummeting, being a being a community organizer plummeting. Everything's.
What the coal? Yay. That's why Jesus being his actual son doesn't make sense. Gotta have to agree with you, man. Query, I know, but there is something with questioning too, Flat Earth. Sup, Abdirayam? No, we are children of Adam and Eve.
Oh, wait.
Sup, Moonchin? I mean, who knows at the end of the day how we even came about? All I know is there is a creator. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's all I really care about anyways. We can all just speculate. But we can't speculate on a creator. You know what I mean? You can't speculate on that shit.
Plummeting in America other than money. People are focusing on money.
Connect is an application which allows you to take a minute to connect with influencers from all around the world. My name is Andrew Tate, and I'm available to speak directly to you on Connect.
So it's interesting while you're talking about this whole religion thing, while you're in, who has reached out to want to support? We talked about this last time briefly. Yeah. Being a Muslim yourself, have some of the most powerful Muslims reached out, trying to help out, figuring out a way to get you out?
Yeah, absolutely. They certainly have. And also the amount of mail I got from Muslims around the world was completely incredible. When I was in the cell with Tristan, he said, well, I'm Christian. Nobody's written to me. So it was kind of amazing the support that you have from the Brotherhood, and you certainly feel part of the family, and I've had a lot of support from them as a whole. It was Ramadan at the time I was in jail, so my first Ramadan was in jail. So that was certainly interesting because you eat when the sun goes down. And my meal came when the sun.
But the sun does not go down. I know. But the sun is just traveling away. We call it going down. But anyways.
Was up, so I'd have to cover it up and try and hide it from cockroaches and wait for the sun to go down and then eat it cold by myself. But I felt like, if you're going to do it the first time, you may as well jump in the deep end and do it hard. So I did that, and that was an experience. And jail as a whole, there's so many stories I can tell. There's so many different ways I remember it. There were times I laughed. I will sit and say some of the best days of my life were in jail.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and some of the worst days of my life were in jail. But there were days where me and Tristan, when we were finally in the same cell, there's times we laughed like we've never laughed before. I'll sit and admit that's absolutely not really true. I feel like if you're going to be the kind of person who strives for an exceptional life, which is what I am, I think I'd be a coward if I said I want an exceptional life, but I only want to be exceptional in a good way. I don't think that's genuine. I want an exceptional life. Exceptional means away from the norm. And away from the norm means flying your Bugatti on a jet to Dubai and taking your own plane to meet it there. And it also means a Romanian dungeon with cockroaches on New Year's Eve. They're both exceptional experiences. And the times I was with my brother and it was just him and I, we truly had some genuine days where we laughed like we always laugh. Me and him laugh and have fun on a private jet, and we laughed and had fun in a Romanian prison cell because that's just who we are. And I also have to give my brother some credit while we're here. I would like to state I absolutely genuinely believe I have the best brother in the world. And I'll tell you why.
I believe him.
I always knew I had the best brother in the world, but he proved it in jail, and I'll tell you why. My brother was put in jail for being my brother. He hasn't said any videos. He hasn't said anything on the internet. He hasn't said any of the things I supposedly said. The Matrix isn't attacking him. The BBC doesn't print about him, nothing. Why was Tristan Tate in jail? Because it's Tate brothers. So they just took him and threw him in a cell. Now, what's interesting is, when I got out of jail...
Now, I would say that's a mistake on their end. Not that I want them to do it, but, okay, if they can't touch Andrew, if I was them, I would go through his brother. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or at least try. And maybe they will do that.
Maybe they have, because remember Patrick asked the question that if they try to separate, like to make them start a fight or turn them against each other, and then they cut. So I guess that's some part of the legal shit. So probably they did.
So many people near me got heat. All business partners got heat with the tax. They got hit with like tax paperwork, and they were calling everyone who's ever known me, and ex-girlfriends got heat, and all these people got heat. And some people complained, some people didn't. But some people were like, "Oh, since you've been in jail, it's been so stressful for me. The media's outside my house." Like, stressful for you? I was in jail. Yeah. What do you want me to do? And people were complaining at me. And as these people start to complain, I sat there. I said to Tristan, "You got thrown in jail purely for being my brother, and never for a fraction of a second did you even moan." Not even for a fraction of a second did he say, "Oh, they only put me here because of you. Why am I here? I'm innocent. This has nothing to do with me." Nothing. In fact, he said the absolute opposite. He said, "I am so glad I went to jail with you. I would be furious if they sent you here by yourself. If they're going to lock you up, they better lock me up." And there was a time, about 2 months in, because there's less media pressure on Tristan, they were talking about releasing Tristan first. And he was saying, "No, I won't leave without Andrew.
Going down with the ship.
I won't leave unless my brother leaves. Wow. I won't leave." And he was telling the guards, "I won't leave. Keep me here. I'm not leaving." And they said, "The judge says you have to leave, you have to leave." He goes, "Then I'll stand outside the gate. I'll sleep outside. I ain't leaving this jail." And our lawyer said, "Well, we can make an appeal to just release you because there's less media scrutiny around you." And Tristan's like, "No. Andrew's in jail. I'm in jail." Refused to leave. He was adamant he had to stay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's a brother
That's
for
not
me.
common.
And it was the same for me. I said to Tristan,
Yeah, that's like, you don't see that shit.
No. And I
It's
think
very rare.
Back in the days, that was you relied on those kind of people. You know, you had to have people like that around you. You know, for survival in both in war and in normal regular times, just to survive.
Yeah.
People that would never ever turn their back on you. That will always, catch you. But you know what I mean.
But have your back.
But now, because we don't need each other to survive, that is gone.
Yeah. The system
Yeah.
takes care of everybody.
if they came into me and said, "Andrew, go home," I'd be like, no way. Tristan's in jail, I'm in jail. We're in jail together. He never for a second complained, never bitched, never moaned, and he was only in jail for being my brother. And then I come out and there's other people, "Oh, they sent me a piece of paper, blah, blah, blah." You're moaning? It's unbelievable. You truly learn, like I said, jail confirms everything you already knew about the world, and you truly learn who's on your side and who isn't. And that's good to learn, but it's actually crazy. The larger psychological analysis of it all, everyone lives inside their own minds, right? So it's kind of crazy. I came out of jail, and some of the first messages I got from people was them complaining about the problems me being in jail had given. Like, you think that wouldn't happen, right? You think, oh, you come out of jail, people would be like, "Oh, are you okay?" They're like, "Oh, you're okay? You're out now? Okay, yeah, well, listen, Mo." You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed. And I'm like,
disgusting.
I was in jail. What do you want me to do? Yeah, that sounds unfortunate. I was in a jail cell. What do you want me to do about it?
Right? That shows you that they're in it for themselves.
Yeah, of course.
What the fuck should he do about that? He went into a dungeon, man.
Kind of crazy how much everyone's kind of self-interested. So it's been a learning curve, and you learn a lot about a lot of different people, and your circle gets smaller. And I think that's probably one of the reasons God put me in there, to just learn a lot and make my circle smaller. And you just have to listen to him and pay attention to it and say, "Okay, all right, you're off, you're off, you're off, you're on, you're on, you're on." But my brother, I have to give him credit, because I tell you, I also think me and Tristan are one of the best teams in the world because we have different roles inside of our brotherhood. My role is to be concerned and to panic. Not panic, that's the wrong word. I never panic. My role is to be concerned and try and fix the problem. I'm in jail, pacing up and down. How do we get out? And Tristan's role is to not care. And together, that helps us achieve the objective best, because when we really need to get out, I'm in charge.
He is, you could say, Tristan is he's assisting him while he's trying to, he's trying to make it easier for him while he's trying to figure out the thing, It's like a unit.
His role is to not care. Sometimes, when it was at the height of frustration, I needed his superpower. Tristan's superpower, and this is his superpower for life, is he is the master of not giving a fuck. We would go to court.
I love it.
We would go to court. Imagine this. You're in jail, right? Weekends were the worst, because the TV was worse on weekends for some reason. You had to do 3 channels. But the TV, the weekends were the worst, and you could hear out the window everyone having fun. I hated weekends. So when a Friday would roll around, I'd say, "Okay, Tristan, we just have to zen away the weekend." And on Monday, there's court. We just have to zen away the weekend. So for the weekend, we just sit there staring at the wall. Intrusive thoughts, can't sleep, all those things you're trying to get out your brain, just sitting in silence because the room's tapped, just staring at the wall, And you think Monday would never come. And Monday would eventually come, right? Or Sunday night comes, and 8 a.m. on Monday, they're gonna take you to court, and they might let you go home. You've done nothing. This person in this room can decide if you go home. And it's Sunday night, and you can't sleep, and you're awake all night long. There's no clock, but you just the seconds feel like hours. You're just sitting there. Eventually 8 a.m. comes, put you in handcuffs, walk you to the court. You walk in there, everyone speaks Romanian, don't have a clue what's going on. Everyone's just talking at each other in Romanian. Then they say, "You'll get the answer in 3 hours, go back to jail." When I went back to jail, I was sitting in the room. I was like, do I pack to go home? No, that's too optimistic. Okay. But you're nervous. You're like, you're anxious. Am I going to go home? Is it over? Do I get to go home? I called the lawyer. Do you have an answer yet? No answer yet. Okay. Sitting there. I can barely sit still. Tristan finishes court, walks straight into the room. It's a matrix attack. It's bullshit. I'm going to sleep. And went to bed. Clean asleep. I was like, how the fuck are you asleep? He didn't care at all. He just went straight to bed. And then when he woke up like 6 hours later, matrix attack? I'm like, yeah, you thought so. He just rolled back over. Didn't care.
But it's perfect for a guy like you.
But that's what you need. I need that.
I agree.
Because if I had someone else next to me as hyped as me, I would have gone insane.
I agree.
I need someone like him who's just like, he had the superpowers like, bro, I love jail. Jail's great. Look, we got coffee. I love jail. None of my women are messaging me. I love jail.
I just hear Tristan's accent. Tristan has a slightly different accent. He has a more British. Like his accent is a little bit more British one.
Not as aggressive, more gentleman style.
But more British. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I had 45 minutes on the phone a day, and I used all of my minutes. Tristan never made a single phone call from jail.
Get out of here.
Not one. I was like, Tristan, do you want to speak to anyone? Nah. Sitting there watching Romanian news. Didn't give a shit. Like bulletproof. But the only reason he's so bulletproof that way is because he knows I'm doing the absolute best the other way. He couldn't be that way if I wasn't trying to get us out, because then he would try to get out. You need the yin and yang. So like,
yeah, because if he didn't have Andrew, let's say he had somebody else in there with him that was not at Tristan's level, then Tristan would have to become Andrew. And then that guy would hopefully try to become Tristan. You know what I mean? But since I think Tristan knows that Andrew is slightly better at whatever Andrew is doing. You know what I mean? Like solving stuff. So he just leaves it to Andrew.
When it was chill time, it was his mental frame. And when it was how do we get out of here, it was my mental frame. But Tristan's superpower is genuinely not caring. I can't explain the level of how much it didn't affect him. It didn't bother him at all. I didn't see him sad, nothing. He was smiling. He didn't care.
You consider yourself a stoic. How much more stoic is he than you?
I just think we have different roles, and I think we've evolved into them over the time, because it's not just jails with everything. That's what we are with everything. If there's a business problem, I'm the one who's like, shit, we have to fix this now, shit. And Tristan's the one like, Andrew, you are so ridiculously rich, chill. But we need that. We need both, right? But he couldn't be that chilled if I wasn't the way I was, because he wouldn't be successful. Totally. So you need the opposites. So everyone goes, oh, you and your brother are so close. We're so close because we're actually very different people. But yeah, he was amazing in jail. And even afterwards, I still struggle to sleep. He sleeps fine. Because I think my experience of jail was a far more stressful one. But I adopted that. Now, I'm not saying I couldn't have done what Tristan did. I could have done what Tristan did. If I were to go into jail and say, your MO is to not care, I could not care. But my MO was, how do I get out of this matrix attack? So I was the most stressed I've ever been in my life. So that's carried over. So I don't sleep. He sleeps fine. But he slept fine in jail. So why wouldn't he sleep fine now, right? So yeah, it was interesting. But I have to give him props, because it's amazing to have that level of clarity. And he said things which were absolutely and utterly true. Things I already knew, but it was nice to hear.
I want to ask you a question on this. So I have 2 boys, right? And one day they're going to watch this. They're not going to watch it right now. They're 11, 9, but they're going to watch this, right? And in school, I'll go and the kids that are, 11, 12, 13, they're like, you Andrew Tate, how was that interview? Oh my God. So,
hold on, let me read that comment. What's up, Nariman? I realized as Middle Eastern, our whole society based on the group, not the individuals.
Right? Yeah, that's a good point. I really believe that. We become individuals because we know that we can survive by ourselves. We don't need the government, to help us. If we have a job and an apartment, we will do just fine, not knowing a single person. Yeah. That is dangerous, because then you're feeding the ego. Like, you're only going to base your thoughts and your reality on you, When you have the group think, it's all about your group, your clan, your society, your family.
Yeah, I think the elites have done that on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose, absolutely.
Making people
and I think that is
separated.
also a thing why they killing off Christianity, because before, when Christianity was, everyone believed in God here in the West also, that kept people together. They went to church, they had the same values, the morals, everything. But now, as we become more secular countries, we don't have God in common, and we don't need anyone else to survive.
And then you just cut yourself off.
Yeah.
11-year-old kids are watching these types of content, but that's pretty wild where they're at. But here's a question about brothers. There's a lot of brothers out there. As a father, there's certain principles I'm teaching them, okay? One, if you can speak from the idea of how your bond was built based on a man, your father, Emery, injecting certain values and principles in the two of you. You guys better do this. I don't want to see this. And then which part of the code did you guys create? Because there's friendship, but there's brotherhood. There's a very different story.
Absolutely.
How was that developed?
Yeah, so my father, and I have endless stories about my father. A lot of people who dislike me would call him an extremist. I don't think he was an extremist. I truly believe I had the best father on the planet. And from a very young age, he made it clear. He said, look, you're Tates and you're going to have enemies. You're going to have people who are against you. Your best bet is to be a team. So whenever me and Tristan would fight, which happened, we got put in a room together. And we had to sit in that room, and my dad would say 3 hours or 4 hours in silence. He'd sit us down in the room, here, looking at each other, and say, if I hear a noise, I'm starting the time again. And we'd have to just imagine when you're a kid and you fight and you're furious and you're so mad, and then you're sitting across from the person you hate.
Yeah.
Silent. Because you make a noise, dad gets mad.
Yeah, this is geniusly done by his father. Because if it didn't put them both in there, regardless of who started it, that would install like a separate type of thing, like what he did when he puts both of them in there since they're young. That installs a team thing, a bond. You know.
Yeah.
They do not know it, like as kids, but that is what is being created, a bond, whether they like it or not, and that's a genius.
Yeah.
Because kids, you know, this is what people don't understand. I think I heard this in somebody talking about this. Like when you're a kid, your brain is developing, right? And the brain is operating with certain waves, like beta. I don't know in which order, beta, theta, whatever, waves. And apparently when you're a kid, you start off with a certain brain wave, and then it develops into another brain wave, and then eventually you become conscious of your free will and stuff like that. But this guy said that in a certain age as kids, you're operating in a brain wave that is it's very easy for it to be influenced.
They're supposed to be, because they're supposed to learn how to survive and how to communicate. They have to be.
Yeah, and that
is why the government take the kids as early as they can in school.
Yes.
And kindergarten.
And that's why we got men in dresses talking to kids about the tea thing, because they want to install that shit. This is an attack on the kids. I don't give a fuck what they say.
And dad's outside, right? So just sit there, 2 hours, don't make a noise. We'd stare at each other. And over time, we thought every time dad was home, we just stopped fighting, because it wasn't worth it sitting in this isolation, weird, silent stare thing. Because that's what happened on repeat. It happened like 5 times, and we just stopped fighting. We'd fight all the time when mom was home, and when dad would come home, we'd literally just look at each other like truce. Like, we don't want to sit and do this thing we had to do. Yeah. So we became a team, and then I think it evolved from there, because there's always been a hierarchy. I am the older brother, I'm the bigger brother. He does respect me for that. We both have opinions, but you know, it can be vetoed by me in the end. And we have our specific roles. My specific role is I'm the one who takes the most action. I'm the one who over worries. I believe, especially in business and many other things, I say it to all my staff. I said react fast, react early. Like panic early. Like panic now. I don't believe in waiting for things. It's just not who I am. I can give you a million different examples. If my email processor, this happened just before my cancellation, said, oh, we'll put your account under review. You'll have an answer in 72 hours. As soon as I get that email, within 3 minutes, I'm like, get a new one. Get a new one. I've never waited for anything in my life and it worked. I've never waited and it worked out fine. Ever. Every time it's your canceled, every time it's your deleted, every time I'm like, oh, get a new one now. Just get a new one. I need today's email out, get a new one. We can't get a new one, no one will accept us. Build one. So in a day, we build our own. Like, I'm the panic, fast, and early guy. Tristan's the complete opposite, and that makes us a perfect synergy. And
I would say, you know, he got this mindset of direct, fast thinking. Like, he realizes the situation, and his mind directly calculates what needs to be done. Some people who are, like, in the middle all the time in their thinking, they're like, oh, they're slow, you know? He got this fast, direct thinking. He sees a problem. Okay, what's the solution? We got, like a computer. Okay, we got these options. Okay, which option is best? Like, he calculates this option. It's good, but then he calculates that option. Oh, that's better. No. Acts fast.
I super need him, and I need his energy, especially in jail. Man, he was fantastic in jail. He was like, Andrew, I'm like, what? He goes, if when you were 18, they told you could be one of the richest, most famous men on earth, with street cred in every single city that knows how to speak English. All you had to do was sit in jail for 2 months. Would you have taken it? He's like, yeah. He goes, and what the fuck do you care for? It's like, true. I would have taken that. He goes, and he used to say that, what kind of man hasn't been to jail? That's what he's saying. He used to say, what kind of man hasn't been to jail? He loved jail. He was loving it all the time. He goes, what kind of man hasn't been to jail? Of course I've been to jail. Tristan Tate, of course I've been to jail. Like, he didn't care. And his energy was amazing to tap into. But we both understand that neither of us could be us without the other one's polar. And that's why we live together. That's why we'll always live together. I've had a lot of like women try and say, why do you still live with your brother? Why don't you want to live with me? Da-da-da. And I try and explain to them that, one, I don't think I can be my most competitive without him. Two, I'm most emotionally stable with him. I like the idea. I'm most competitive with him. I'm my best version of me. If it doesn't matter if I have to go into a fight, doesn't matter if I have to run a business, I'm better with Tristan by my side than I would be by myself. And three, my ideal family life, even my ideal family, the way I live my life now, is very much more like a clan than a nuclear family. I like me, my girl, my kids, Tristan, his girl, his kids, my cousin, his girl, his kids. I like this idea of lots of people. I like that. I like that feeling.
I think we're supposed to live like that.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's how it used to be.
Yeah. We're supposed to
And
live
they
like that.
knew this. They're like, okay, how can we make them go from a big clan into small, separate clans, you know? You and your little family
But I
go
think
over there.
that was achieved by the, how would you say, especially with the start of the industrial era in the 1920s, especially then, because then people started to make their own money. You know, you could just go to a workplace, to a factory or whatever, and then get your money.
It comes back to that they don't need each other.
Exactly.
So they can
I think it really started then. Of course, earlier, but it really started then, because before that, like in the late 1800s, you still needed the village to survive, you know. You maybe didn't need them as much as you did in the 1300 or 1200, but you still needed them. But when you start with the illusion that, oh, you're free, you can pick any occupation you want, you can study, you are choosing your slave work. Basically, you are. And giving the illusion that you are free because you can choose for yourself.
So what is the villain in this? Convenience, right?
Absolutely.
Like you're trading the
but
clan.
it's a false convenience also, because I think that humanity has never been more stressed as we are in the Western society right now, with the job situation, the stress at work, getting to work, getting from work, paying the bills.
Yeah.
You know, in this household, it's only you and me.
Yeah.
You know everything.
Yeah.
We're more stressed than we were before. Much more.
Yeah, because there's a price to the convenience, you know?
And also, I heard some like a psychologist or something, I don't know, talking about different type of stress. And they say the stress of survival is not dangerous to the physical body as much as the stress of worrying about the bills, worrying about the children, worrying about your relationship. That stress.
Is it because that's a thing that is always lingering?
Yeah, it's lingering.
Always.
And the body
lingering.
knows that it's not life-threatening in the same way. So it's different chemicals that is released.
Yeah,
in the
but
body.
it's like, you know, there is a monster or an enemy always lingering there, and you can never really get rid of it. It's always there.
But the stress of survival is not that harmful to our bodies.
Yeah.
So a girl says to me, well, you don't want a family. Like, no, I want a family bigger than you want. I just don't want to just sit with you. I want a lot of people around me, and I think it's better for that. And I think it's better for the children especially. Also, I think they enjoy it.
Better for people.
But yeah, I've got the best brother on the planet. I truly do. And this is why I'm saying some of our best days of our lives are in jail.
I was going to ask you that. You guys live here in this compound. It's an amazing place. I was going to ask you, you kind of just answered it, but you foresee yourself living with your brother the rest of your life?
1,000%. 1,000%. I can't imagine not wanting to live with Tristan. If you want privacy, you have privacy, right? We have a big house.
This is the thing. I have to say it again. Be careful now that they know this. They're watching this shit too. You know, right?
And they're going to separate them in some way. They're going to try.
No, not separate. They're going to see, okay, Tristan means a lot. We can't touch him directly.
We're going to touch Tristan.
You know what I mean? So I hope Andrew and Tristan are aware. They probably are.
Yeah, of course.
So it is what it is.
on one wing,
Yeah,
he's
it
on
is,
the other
it is
wing.
what it is. But I can't imagine him not being around. If there's a problem, I just shout his name, or I just can't imagine it. And I know I'm my best self. Also, there's the overall male competition, the masculine competition that exists between us and between all men. So we live currently here. We got me, my brother's personal trainers here. We got camera guys here. We got war room guys here. We got loads of guys here. But I can give you a million examples. There was a record set next door of a gym, and there's a stair machine, and there was a record set of 188 floors within a time frame. I came along and smashed it with 198. I only held the record for 45 minutes because someone beat it with 202. As soon as the record's beaten, everyone gets pissed off and puts their trainers on, puts their shoes on. As soon as it's beaten, everyone gets mad. Who beat it? Who beat it? And everyone goes and did it. And that's how you push yourself to the level you never thought you'd be able to push yourself.
202?
202 floors, 30 minutes. Good luck.
230 minutes.
No, that's what that was beaten with. Now it's 222. They're beaten again. I don't know if I'll ever get to that. But I'm still 198. I got to try again. But the point is, when you have men around you, there's that natural masculine competition, and that's what drives you. If you're going to be the best version of yourself, even if you're a boxer training for a fight, you train with a team. You train with other boxers. You train with other boxers or other trainers. If you're on a football team, you're pushed by your team. I think life should be the same, right? Imagine you took the normal average man and you moved him into a house of 5 people, and you had a philosopher and a fitness expert and a hypnotist, whatever it was. That will make him a more competitive person overall, because he's trying to compete with all the other people who are on his level.
Yeah, this is the thing, the difference between men and women. You know, men, they make fun of each other, call each other names, so that eventually you step up and you try to prove them wrong. Women, they're like, oh, you're beautiful. They don't do that. You know what I mean? They don't they don't push each other to become better. Or what do you say as a woman? I mean, I know a woman today is a man in a dress, but you know.
Yeah.
But I think
not in the same way that as men does. We are more supportive of each other, you know.
But what do you mean, like supportive? Is it really support?
What are you talking about, women today or?
Yeah, today and before.
Well, women today hate each other. They're snakes. Don't trust each other. Don't trust themselves. No real friends. Well, there is, of course, but you know that
it's rare.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Yeah, it is.
But woman before, you think was
Of
back
course.
in the days, you think was
as much as men needed to be like men, women needed to be like women, and we wouldn't survive if we didn't trust each other and help each other.
I know, but is there a thing like men have this thing where they say, "Hey, you little pussy, what are you doing? You're weak," and then he's like, "No, I'm not weak," and he tries to prove the guy wrong. Is there such a thing with women?
Yeah, I guess there is. We're not just, maybe not using the same language and so, but I guess there is. Actually, honestly, I don't really know. Because it's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine.
It is hard. Yeah.
You don't want to take bitch position. So I don't like the idea of my life without masculine competition. That's why I'll always say to my brother.
And if you met a girl one day who says, Tate, I want to have your babies, live with you, but it's kind of weird that your brother's here, what would you say to her?
Yeah, a few of them have said that. I offer some degree of compromise. I'm like, look, we can have our own house separate if you really want, but I'm going to be spending a lot of time at that other house, including nights over. I want to stay with where my brother is.
So you would compromise a little bit, but he's going to be living next door or with you.
100%. And I don't think, and that may be unusual in the Western world. I don't think that's unusual in many places.
I love that, by the way.
Well, you talk about this all the time.
Oh, you don't even know how much I love that. Yeah, I love that. To me, as a kid, that was a dream. Like if you could, right next to each other, there's a family in our community, billionaire family. They live right next to each other. The oldest son has the biggest house, 12,000 square feet. Then the youngest son has the second biggest house, 8,000 square feet. And the parents live in a 6,000 square foot house right next to each other.
Absolutely.
Okay? The 2 boys have 4 kids. The 8 kids are always together.
Absolutely.
What a great environment.
Absolutely.
It's a dream environment.
Absolutely.
I can't see how a person wouldn't buy into that, the benefits of it.
Yeah, because, like attracts like, right? That's why you would rather live in a neighborhood with your friends that you like than strangers. Who knows? The strangers might be good, but you don't know. There's a big chance you will, not agree on stuff. It's just better to have like-minded people around you.
And there's also benefits for the relationship, because I think you have a better relationship with your woman if she can go and talk with other women and be with women and I'm with guys and then you're together sometimes and you can split it up. It's better for everybody. This whole idea of just man, woman, boom, child bang, I understand where it's come from. I'm not saying it's all typically bad, but I do think that in those scenarios there's a lot of men who are particularly miserable, particularly men.
Women
especially.
too.
Women too.
Yeah.
Why?
You're alone. You're not supposed to be alone as a woman.
Yeah, and especially if your guy is going out and stuff, like trying to work or whatever, and then you have to sit there as a woman alone, and and then you may be like, is he with a woman or whatever? But if you were not alone, I don't know.
The idea of a clan and having that team around you, I love that. I wouldn't live any other way. I love living that way.
Well, being born and raised in Miami, there's a lot of Latin culture there.
Yep.
And, the American friends, they just move on their own. That's what they do. But in Latin culture, the abuela's living in the house, the family's living in there, the women are all kind of congregated together.
It's a different
world.
We can also discuss it financially, right? if you're a man and a woman and you have 3 boys and they're, let's say, traditional, Western, whatever, they all go and pay 3 different rents and they all move in with their girlfriends and everyone's getting wrecked, right? If you all stay together and combine your income, you also do much better financially. This is how a lot of immigrants even survived, especially Muslim immigrants in England.
I've heard you tell the story about that.
Absolutely, yeah. They all stay together in one big house. They all pool their incomes. You have a bunch of people with average jobs and Ferraris on the drive. And then they buy the house they're in. Then they buy another. You pool the incomes. If you all
Yeah, and they don't give a fuck about social pressure or regarding that. But people in the West, they do care about that. Like, what are you staying with your family?
Yeah.
And that's probably also made by design.
Of course it is.
You know, to have people look at you like, why are you with your family?
all split and separate and just spread out, you're just paying all different rents, all different electricity bills, and you just go broke. You have to think of the last name and the generation and the clan as a whole. So yeah, I love the idea of living with my brother. I'll never live without him. And yeah, his woman can move in, of course. His kids can be around me, of course. I'm uncle. Why not? I have no problem with that.
That's a dream. Let's transition to a couple of the topics. So I saw a video by the president of Microsoft, Raymond. I think it was the president of Microsoft who said, you're going to see one of the biggest threats in the future being deep fakes. Okay. And then you saw a similar thing being said by Google, Sergey Brin. You're going to see what's going to happen with deep fakes. And then the example of deep fakes was given by the actress from Wonder Woman. What's her name? Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot, right? There was a deep fake porn made of her. Then there was a deep fake video made of Trump. Then there's deep fake of Joe Rogan. There's one of Morgan Freeman. Hi, I am not Morgan Freeman. Kind of goes like this. Wow. So the direction we're going with deep fake, right? When it comes down to AI, where do you see the threat? Is that something you think about? Is that something you see as an opportunity, as a threat? And if yes, which part of it?
Yeah.
You know, this thing, deep fake. You know, they're saying we went from the Pisces era, this astrology thing, Pisces era to Aquarius.
Yes.
I've heard that they say Aquarius, this era that we're in right now, is the era of where truth or something comes to light or something. And if that's true, because of the internet and all that shit, you know, we see through bullshit and stuff like that. But at the same time, though, the tools of deep fake is that to balance it out a little bit. Because now, with the tools of deep fake, it becomes harder to see the truth as well. You know what I mean? Like, if this era is to see that the lies come to truth, like to light, maybe this deep fake technology is like there to balance it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not just, everything comes to light and becomes true. And you know what I mean? Because this is a dualistic yin and yang reality.
That's a really interesting question. Deepfakes are certainly going to change the world because what we're going to have is we're going to have a post-truth society, and then the only way they're going to be able to tell you what's true or not is some committee which decides what's true and what's a deep fake, and then they're going to be in charge of the world, and then they're going to lie to you, and then you're really in trouble. So that's going to be very interesting. Once you get to the point where, what did I say earlier about not being able to trust your own eyes? They're going to take that away from us soon. Then what? Then you're really in trouble. In regards to AI, I think it has to be adopted. Inside of my school, Hustlers University, we teach AI with absolutely everything. A lot of the images we generate, even on my Twitter account, is all AI. And what's actually scary about the modern world is, I don't consider myself old, I'm 36. But some of the children, I call them children, 17, 18-year-olds inside of my school, Hustlers University, they're AI wizards. And they can do magic with this stuff. Magic. Like, they can literally, genuinely, Andrew Tate on the moon, and the image is generated in seconds. Like, artists are going out of business. I thought AI would put truck drivers out of business. Artists are going out of business. Musicians are going out of business.
It is magic. Yeah. This shit is magic. I don't care if it comes from a machine. It is magic. Even this internet right here, what we're doing right now, is some form of magic. Listen, if we did this, if we took this, exactly what we're doing, and take it to the 1300s or something,
they would call us
they
witches.
They would be arresting us for being witches right now. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, this AI thing, we talked about this before, I think. It is actually making humans obsolete with art, music, almost everything soon. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because back in the day before AI, if you're a musician...
Anyone can be a musician. Or a singer with the voice fixing from the AI and everything, or an artist.
So they were dependent on a human for them to bring songs and shit to them, right? Now they're like, fuck you, I don't care if you're a musician. I just go to this AI. I don't know nothing about music, but I'm just gonna type make me a great song. And then they discard you who have put years into this. You know what I mean? So it's sick.
It's kind of scary. I do like to think that with things like AI, there's always going to be some degree of natural separation between the men who are genuinely inventive and killers and the men who are more... Let me change the way I say that. I think if you're an exceptional person, a truly exceptional person, you don't have to be afraid of nearly anything. But you'll probably agree with this. In my experience, in nearly every business in the world, you have 10% killers, and then you have a bunch who want the paycheck. They do their job, but I wouldn't say they're killers. You understand? Mm-hmm. And we live in a society for a long time where I can even tell you now, sometimes when I hire, I'll say to my cousin or to my COO, I'll say, look, either get one killer or 3 normal people. Because that's the reality. That's the basic. You either need 3 people to have to do the job, or you need 1 killer to do the job. Yeah. And I think that those 3 people who have to do their jobs, enough to not get fired, they turn up most of it on time, but they're not really that motivated. Those are the ones who have to fear AI. I think businesses in the medium term are going to become killers in AI. I tell them now, I have some guys who work for me on one particular company and their sales staff. I was reading through the sales scripts. The killers doing really well, but the average guys, I said, you're not doing much better than ChatGPT could do right now. Yeah. I want to warn you that you're not doing much better than I could replace you with a machine today, let alone in 5 years from now, for free. You need to be careful. So I think it's just becoming more and more competitive. The idea that you can just be Joe Schmo, do your job, turn up, I don't try that hard, it's fine. I think that's all going to go out the window because as the world becomes more competitive, as a company, you have to compete with your competitors, and the only way you're going to be able to do that is just where do you cut the fat? Where do you cut the flat? When I see AI popping up and getting more and more intelligent in the way it's talking, that doesn't scare me. But I have a way with words. If I was Joe Schmo, I'd be afraid. This chat GPT can probably text your girl better than you can. he'll probably get laid faster than you will.
Advice for the guys out there.
Yeah,
right? Just
plug it in your phone. It'll do better than you do. So that's scary, you know? And I think that's what the average man really needs to struggle. And I've been saying this has been my message for a very long time in all realms. I've said for a very long time that life for the average man is going to get harder and harder. It's becoming more and more competitive. You need to find more and more ways to stand out and be unique. And the only way to really do those things, unfortunately, as a man, is to suffer. And that's one of the reasons I'm kind of glad that...
Be unique. To be unique, you have to be yourself.
Yeah, but I don't think that it's as easy as just, being unique in yourself. I think it's like he says, you need to be a killer. You need to never give up. You need to always wanting, to evolve and to get better.
Sure, but
I think that's the key.
Ingredients of uniqueness, though, your uniqueness.
Yeah,
I don't think you can acquire that by some skill.
No, I agree, but I don't think that's enough today. You cannot just be unique and then it's gonna, work out fine.
I know, but it is one aspect of it. Like that is...
But unfortunately, not the most important one.
Depending on what your uniqueness is, like your ability in that uniqueness that you have is.
God put me in jail because if you look at anything that builds a man into a man, there's a degree of suffering. It's very hard to become a man and have a man who's respected and has stories and is capable when he only had a nice life and nice experiences. It's usually the things that made you the best version of you are usually the worst things that happened to you. So the demons I carry from jail, the fact I can't sleep. The fact I can't sleep, I've had girls say to me, you can't sleep, you need to see a psychiatrist. And I said, absolutely not. I would be furious if a psychiatrist walked in here and took my demons from me. I don't care if they could fix me with a click, they're mine. And they're bestowed to me by God. And they're mine to deal with, and they're mine to fix, because that's how I become a better version of me. I would be furious if someone took them away from me. I'm glad I can't sleep. Good, I can train endlessly. That's why I'm bigger than I've ever been. I'll train I'm not going to waste a minute. But all the demons that have been given to me by God and all the problems that have been given to me by God are mine to fix.
But hold on, what do you think about this psychiatry thing?
You know what I think? That's the thing I believe that women helped each other with back in the days, because women need to talk. We need to talk more than men needs to talk about how we feel or problem or whatever, And before, when women lived together, at least here in the Western world, we talked, we joked, we sang while we were doing, the chores. So we didn't... we would never have needed a psychiatrist because we had, I had my sister and my mom and my aunt and my cousin. I didn't need that because I could get what was on my chest out to them while we were doing laundry or whatever, Yeah. But now today, when people are so lonely, especially girls, and you don't feel maybe you have someone to talk to that you trust, I imagine it's easy to turn to a psychiatrist that will listen to you and understand you and see it, that way. So I get where it's coming from. I don't think that it's the right way for people.
Yeah, because I don't really like psychiatrist thing, but I was just thinking, like, when we speak to each other and we try to solve something or whatever, aren't we doing psychiatrist stuff ourselves? We are. So what I mean is,
And this is also something with the ego thing, because before, when you talk to your sister or your mother or so, they knew you, they knew your family, your kids, your husband, what the problem was, sometimes maybe even better than you did. But now with the ego, we're talking to someone that don't know us, don't know our family.
They don't really care.
Yeah,
that
they will
much.
not judge you. They will listen to you and say, aha, okay, yes, I understand. You know, it will not be... You know, a mom will tell you, a real mom will tell you, you know, life is a bitch, you know, but you need to get over it, whatever, you know, to try to build you up, make you stronger. But the psychiatrist today will just, you know, agree with you and feed your depression.
Yeah. What I mean is, the idea of psychiatrists is not maybe bad, because we were doing it without going to a psychiatrist. It's just, when it becomes like you going to the doctor and talk, you know, it becomes so unpersonal. I don't know.
But I can buy, if you go, like, if you're religious, going to a priest or to, you know, your religious place to talk to someone that is, you know, maybe more knowing about the religion, about God, and can help you and guide you from that way. That is fine.
And that is also a kind of psychiatry. Yeah.
Never, ever allow anybody else to take them from me. I'd be furious. If a psychologist came in and said I could cure you, I'd say, no, thank you. I will cure myself. I don't care if it takes 10 years. I'll cure myself. That's my job. And I know that when that's done, I will be more mentally resilient than I ever would have been without jail. That's the whole point of it, right? So many men say, I want to be the man, but they don't want to suffer. They don't want to fight. And I don't understand why, because even if you look at a superhero movie, they tell you, even in superhero movies, they make it very clear. Batman's parents died. That's why he's Batman. All the bad things have to happen. There's no way to get there without the bad things. I get so many emails from people complaining about their bad things, and I don't have time to reply to any of them, but if I could, I'd say, good. Good luck. Congratulations. Off you go. Of course she broke your heart. Of course you're sad. Of course you miss her. She's with me now. That's life. That's part of it. That's the only way you're going to get to that level of resilience. You can't become the man any other way. So yeah, I thank God for everything bad that's ever happened to me and all the demons, and I trust that he's not going to give me anything I cannot, in the end, decipher and deal with. In the end, I think it's a puzzle, and you decipher it, and you work out the best way to deal with it, and you internalize the good parts, and you become a better and stronger and more resilient person for it.
Isn't there a saying, I don't know if it's from Islam or what, that God doesn't push you harder than...
He knows that you can handle it.
Something like that. Yeah.
So I have to thank God for every single one of them.
Well, I mean, you got to go through shit to be the shit. That's basically what it is. And by the way, what you're saying is not a hypothetical. You talk about being the average man. You see this play out on dating apps these days. Have you seen what's happened, especially on Instagram and on all the dating apps, Hinge, Bumble, out there? The top guys out there are getting 90% of the women, whereas the bottom guys, I think the stats are a third of men under 30 have not been laid in a year.
If being average is not acceptable anymore.
At all.
It's not acceptable anymore. And it's not acceptable in the sexual marketplace, but it's also just not acceptable, I don't think, even in life anymore.
Period.
You have to diversify now so much to even protect yourself. The idea that you can just be a law-abiding citizen in a country and just work your job and be okay is gone.
He's talking about the average man. I don't know about you, but I remember in the 90s or whatever, the people, they had more personalities. Like, you know, there was like almost every, like in school, high school or whatever, almost everybody, not all the people, but a lot of the people, they had their own personality and their own style, and I don't see that today.
No, not in the same way. No.
You know, today everybody's so, you know, there is no personalities left. That's the thing we need to think about and bring back. You know what I mean? We need more personalities, man. You know what I mean? Like, that's that person. He or she is that way, you know? And that's that person. He or she is that way. It's reduced. I don't know what has happened through these decades, 2 decades or something, since the 2000-ish.
It's gone. If COVID doesn't prove that, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
Look at my situation. You have to diversify. You have to be smart enough that you have assets and friends and capability and lawyers and whatever all over the world now. That's the only way to protect yourself. You can't just sit within one jurisdiction and go, oh, well, but I don't speed, so it's going to be okay. I don't think it is. I think it's coming to a point where it's not going to be okay. And AI is going to make it harder and harder, again, for those average men. It's going to be harder and harder. I don't think the exceptional men are ever going to suffer from AI. I think we're going to use AI.
Do you think this whole Neuralink that Elon Musk just got the approval for the patent? So now the sale is going to be, look, no matter what you do, John, you will never be like Andrew Tate. Yeah. But if you take this Neuralink GT500/Tate, you're able to get upgraded to his levels and think like him and outthink and do this and do that for only $49,000.
Yeah, and this is the fucking trap. And this is why I don't really fully trust Elon. Because I've seen signs ever since he bought Twitter. I don't know if you've seen these tweets. He made these weird tweets like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something to the extent like, all right, 100% information sucking. I don't know what it was, but it was like a robotic thing, like the Twitter feed is now.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but he said something to the extent like the Twitter feed is gathering knowledge from tweets or some shit like that. Probably for this whatever machine that is coming. But this Neuralink thing is a trap.
Yeah.
It's a fucking trap. Once they're inside of your head, it's over, man. They're inside of your head. A geek can tap into your head. If you fall for this shit, you're stupid. I get it. You gotta have to compete with stupid people who has that shit in. But fuck it, man. We're all gonna die anyways. Let's just die naturally. Don't let them into your mind because they might get you some way, get your soul.
It's scary.
Chip in your head
It's
when
scary.
you offer this to you.
My mother always says to me, I'm glad I'm not young. And I'm starting to say that now. I'm glad I'm not young. Because I'm telling you, it's going to be scary, right? Because the world is hyper-competitive. Every single thing in the world is competition. I don't think people realize I'm a hyper-competitive person because I understand that every single thing I want, somebody else wants. The girl I want, other people want. The car I want, other people want. The house I want, other people want. The lifestyle, the jet, every single thing you want, somebody else wants. It's a massive competition. As a man, you have two choices. You either accept that it's a massive competition and try and play the game, or you just try and pretend it's not a competition and live in perpetual failure.
What do you think about this competition? I think competition is really good because that improves everybody, But at the same time, though, what are we competing for? Like, what I mean is, what's the end goal of this competition? Are we eventually going against each other? Because if that's the case, then it's not good. You know what I mean? We need to, as humanity, come together at the end of the day. Inside of that, it's good with competition. But what I mean is, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
But the competition is supposed to be a healthy competition.
Yeah, healthy competition. Yeah. Unhealthy competition, I don't think is good.
No?
Because at the end of the day, it's humanity versus the machine zone,
And it's going to become hyper-competitive. The world already is. You're not going to be able to compete with a person with a computer brain. So you're going to have it because you can't compete. Then once you have it, then who knows? Can they turn it off? I don't know. Can they turn you off? I don't know. Can they inject the slave mind programming directly through the chip? I don't know. That's scary. I would never want to do that.
Trap.
It's going to get to a point where you're not even a person without it. You can't
think about it. They're always pushing the laziness.
Yeah.
The convenience, laziness. That's the ultimate push for laziness.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you can become Andrew Tate.
Yeah. With
What
just
do
a
you-
chip.
What do you say? All right.
Yeah.
And then they got you. You know what I mean? Maybe that's
it's
the
always-
ultimate satanic trick.
But I still think that everything that is not real, of course, is fake, and fake is never going to be as good as the real thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not acquiring
No.
the skills in an organic
No.
way. You're just cheating. That's cheating, man. You're a fucking cheater if you take that chip.
function without it. You're a second-class
What
citizen
happens to
without it.
competition then, though? What happens to competition then? Is it going to be whoever has access to the best technology, whoever has the most recent upgraded version of XYZ Neuralink chip?
Absolutely. It's going to become scary. I'm glad I'm not young.
And then the creator of that, whoever controls this Neuralink, is your god. Right?
Hope it doesn't happen while I'm alive. I don't know. It's going to be
Dude, it's already online. Right? They're trying it right now.
an interesting world.
Does it inspire you to want to have more kids, or you're like, that's indifferent? I'm gonna have the kids. I'm not worried about that.
I think I think in the 1700s they're probably saying the same thing. The future's over, and the future ain't that bad. So there'll be a way it'll work out. I just have to instill within them the same values I have, and they'll find a way to work it out, and hopefully they'll be okay.
PBD, you always say the future looks bright. I mean, you must be concerned. You've got 4 kids.
I would have 20 more right now if I could. I would have 20 more kids right now. I don't know how you feel about it. I'd have 20 more kids right now if I could.
Absolutely love children. There's nothing bad about having children. The only thing I wish I did is start earlier. It's the only thing. Only thing I wish I did was
Well, listen, right now, I don't know if you know, if you need some inspiration, there's this guy named Al Pacino
I saw that.
who had a kid at 82 and his
saw
girl was
that.
29 years old, and De Niro had it at 79.
Wow. Well,
So it's never too late. You're
Never too
36. If you got the testosterone level of 32, I'm sure you can have 20 more kids.
I'll be okay.
Politics. Let's talk politics with America. You're seeing what's going on with the election. One of the vantage points you have is you're not there. It's kind of like it's your problem. You guys deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm over here on this side. From your perspective, YouTube comes out. Hey, all the election stuff you guys talked about, that we would ban it and take it down, you guys can talk about it now because we want a balanced argument from both sides. Okay.
You want that now? Okay, you didn't want that before
Right.
today? Now you want it.
Okay, no problem. Who do you see? What are your thoughts on Trump today, 2024, DeSantis, Biden? How do you see this thing panning out?
Politics is so interesting. It's so messy. I mean, obviously, I'm a Trump supporter. I believe in Trump. I like
Exactly. That's the way to be.
DeSantis and the things he did. I'm not going to choose between Trump or DeSantis. I think if one of them won, if any of them won, it would be fantastic.
I disagree.
But maybe he's not, following everything,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
been in
he's
jail
been in the
and-
dungeon. Yeah,
so-
of course. But because we now know that DeSantis seems to be a snake. You know what I mean? Like if you choose DeSantis over Trump, you're making a foolish mistake because that motherfucker might be flipping as soon as he goes in. With Trump, you know.
For the world. I think YouTube taking a back step is actually extremely important symbolically. It'd be interesting to see if they keep that up post this election, seeing what happens with this election. That'll be very interesting.
Why do you think they done that? YouTube pulled back the 2020 election stuff.
I was wondering that, but maybe just to see, see, we're a fair platform. We allow things.
Yeah, but I remember yesterday, motherfucker. You weren't that fair
But
yesterday.
people, the regular people usually either don't care or don't remember.
Or is it because it's not that important anymore because it's almost only 1 year
that's
of
why I mean
Biden's...
now it's the time to release it and say that, hey, look, we allow it because now it's not...
it's only 1 year almost left of Brandon Biden. Yeah.
But I think it's certainly a massive symbolic step back. I remember when I got canceled, nobody talked about Rumble, nobody talked about Kick, nobody talked about even you guys, Valuetainment, no disrespect. You were a lot smaller then than you are now. It's crazy how fast alternatives have popped up. And I'm only saying this because I do feel like I literally said, I remember my exact words. I said, there's pressure behind the dam. Everyone's tired of it. All it takes is a crack. And when there's a crack, there'll be a flood. And the crack in the dam will be a man who is more famous once he's canceled than he was before he was canceled. That's what I said. Now they're trying to put me in jail, which is making me more famous again. I'm not saying it's all because of me, but I'm saying there's definitely a public...
It is him. Let's face it. He is the first one that didn't get canceled outside of Trump.
Yeah.
consciousness switch where the arbitrators of truth are having to backstep now. They've overused their power. They overstepped their power exactly like we said they would, and now they're allowing open discourse. So I hope that America has a free and fair election. That's what I'm praying for. I think every country should have a free and fair election, especially when we're going to fly fighter jets and drop $500,000 bombs on farmers who've never made $5 in their day under the guise of democracy. If we're going to bother to do that, then we should at least have a democracy ourselves. Yeah. So I think a free and fair election will be interesting. And I think the will of the people should be done. And that's how America was built and founded, and that's what I would like to see. And I do think that America does lead the public consciousness overall as a whole. I know what you're saying about me being over here, but I do think that which side wins does have an overreaching effect overall on the entire planet. America is still the most powerful country on earth. It'd be very interesting to see what happens in 2024. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, Trump just held a speech after his charges, and he means business. Yeah. He's like, this is it. We're going to take down these motherfuckers. We're going to take down the deep state. We're going to take down the lefties. I think he said that. The left lunatics, you know.
Crazy question for you. He gets approached all the time. PBD, when you running? When you running, PBD? He goes, listen.
I'll vote for you, bro.
Yeah, he goes, listen. I was born in Iran, made in America. I can't run. Well, when are you going to... Well, you were born in America, Andrew Tate.
I was, yeah.
You know, you were raised in Luton, UK. You lived in Romania, but you are an American citizen.
I have no idea.
Dream with me for a second.
I have no idea.
If you were president of the United States, Andrew Tate, what would that look like?
I have no idea what it'd be like to be president, but I have a feeling what Putin said about the presidents might be true. Did you ever see what Putin said?
Yes. 8 years, they come and go.
Yeah. I've seen 3 presidents. I've seen a lot of presidents come and go, and they all come with these grand ideas. But once they get in office, the people with the briefcases and the dark suits come in and sit them down because of the strong bureaucracy inside of the United States and explain to them how things are done.
I think
it's funny because the great comedian Bill Hicks said this in 1992 or something. He had a comedic skit about.
Yeah, I love it.
When a president becomes a president, they might go inside thinking they can change shit, and then they enter a smoky room with 13 people around the table, and then say, roll the tape. And then you see JFK's head blown in an angle nobody has seen before.
Right.
And then like, do you get? What was it?
I don't remember.
Do you got the message? It's like, I got it perfectly well. You know what I mean? I wonder if Putin has seen that clip from
Probably.
Bill Hicks.
And they never seem to get their ideas done. They never seem to do the things they said they were going to do.
You include Trump in that?
I think Trump tried his very best to resist that, and that's why he's in the situation he's in. That's why they're taking him to court for no reason. That's why he was Matrix attacked. I mean, if Trump's okay, let's cut the guard. I'm going back to jail anyway, probably with this Matrix attack. They're going to try and kill me anyway. They probably are. If Trump's situation isn't a Matrix attack, what is?
Yeah.
What did they just hit him with in New York? Some defamation for defending himself against a lie?
Right.
If that's not a Matrix attack, tell me what is possibly else. Anyone who's sitting out here who actually truly believes that the Matrix doesn't exist has no idea how the world works. The media machine and the legal system work hand in hand to try and slander people's name and convince the populace enough that they're guilty so there's no revolt, so they can hit them with a guilty plea. They've already decided before all of it. It's all a plan. This many.
This speech I was talking about with Trump just today or something, 6 hours ago, whatever it was. I saw a clip on Twitter of what is her name, Maddow. This dude-looking woman, Mad Cow.
Okay, yeah.
Rachel Mad Cow.
Yeah.
On CNN or whatever the fuck it is, ABC or whatever, the lefty news. When that speech of Trump was live, she goes on air and says, because we know that Trump is now going to spew out a bunch of lies, we're not going to send his speech, we're not going to broadcast his speech live because of the lies he's going to spew out. So we're going to...
Thank you so much.
Do that on a replay. So we're gonna go through his speech and give you the information you need to hear. What?
Treating people like children. Also, if everything that he says is a lie, can we
people see that?
Yeah, exactly. You know.
But it ain't lie.
Yeah.
They know that he will counter their bullshit attack with their indictment with truth. That's why they're saying we will have to go sift through it and then broadcast snippets to you.
Months of negative news, then we'll hit him with this, we'll get him guilty for this, and with this many months of negative news, the populace will probably swallow it. It's garbage. It's a Matrix attack from head to toe.
How much do you see yourself in Trump? And to use your words, first they try to cancel you, he was canceled.
Yeah.
Then they try to throw you in jail, he's dealing with lawsuits. Yeah. Lastly, they try to put a bullet in your head.
Well,
they're both at the same place in a way. I'm still saying this. Trump and Andrew sit down is gonna destroy the world. Yeah. That needs to happen. That would break the internet. I don't get how Tate's fans are not pushing for this. Because it can't happen because Don Jr. is following Tate.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, man. Do it. Destroy the world, man. Damn.
Trump's lucky because he's a bit older, so Trump will try and outlast him. They'll wait. My problem is I'm a bit young. You know? And I also think the reason I feel particularly at risk, and I say these things on podcasts to protect myself, and I don't want anyone to think I'm paranoid or crazy, because I really don't believe I am. The reason I think I'm particularly at risk is for the thing you just said. It's the masculine youth who are my fans. It's the 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds. They are the future of the world. They're the people you want to go and die in a ditch. They're the soldiers you need. Those are the people you need psyoped. You need them psyoped. You can't have a bunch of men who aren't psyoped. That's when you lose control of everything, when the men don't listen anymore. And they're all listening to me. And I'm teaching them things like God, religion, personal responsibility, accountability, discipline. And everyone's saying, well, why are they attacking Andrew for just telling the truth and making me go to the gym? Because when you have these things, when you have accountability and discipline and personal responsibility, you have a barrier, you have a parameter, you have a no, you have a limit. They don't want you to have a limit. None of the men are allowed limits. We must accept whatever we are given from our relationship with our woman, from the government, from our job. We're just the slaves. We're the backbone of the tax bracket. We just have to shut up and pay our taxes. As soon as we have limits, they have a problem. That's why they dislike the things I teach. What do I really say? What do I really teach young kids that's genuinely dangerous? What do I say? Go to the gym, stick up for yourself? Stick up for yourself, go to the gym, you're allowed an opinion. Educate yourself, be smart, work hard. Believe in things, believe in yourself. Have friends, have strong friends around you. Don't listen to dishonest men or dishonest women. It's not misogynistic to say dishonest people. Non-gendered should be anywhere near you. You should have standards for who's your friend, standards for who you have relationships with romantically, whether you're gay or straight.
Exactly. But I want to put this in too. I don't think it's just that he is telling men or boys how to be men. That's one part of it. But I think it is also that besides all of that he's telling them, he is also waking them up to the elites and all that shit. Because let's face it, there's been a lot of, men gurus out there that it has not been attacked like he has been attacked. So there is something else to this, and it's that factor that he does that regarding men and stuff like that, talking about how to be better. But he also, after that, he adds on that aspect to it that makes him so dangerous for the elite. So it's a double danger.
You should have standards. Telling men to have standards is now wrong think. Because as soon as men have standards, they lose control. They don't want any man to have any standard on anything. They want to come along and say, no, you need the 8th injection. Take it. That's all they want.
I think that's the saddest thing that's happened to you, is because anybody that listens to your long-form content, not 60 seconds on TikTok, fully understands that you're an advocate for male self-improvement.
Absolutely.
Get out of depression, work your ass off, be coachable, make money, get women, enjoy the finer things in life. But they will take the little things you say and label you a misogynist, label you a chauvinist, and that's the tip of the iceberg of minor things you say when you really are a male advocate.
It's weaponized virtue. But also, you can't have an opinion on any kind of differences or differentiation without them now calling you a misogynist. If I believe a woman is better at raising young children than a man, I would never drop my beard. I would never take my 2 or 3 year old girl and drop her off in a nursery which was male run. I would only bring her to a nursery which is female.
No, would you hire a babysitter that's a boy?
Neither. Never. Do I hate men? No. I just believe that in war a man should go, and raising children, maybe perhaps women should go. I just believe in the same things that everybody believed in 10 years ago. The world is going nuts. 10 years ago, everything I'm saying was standardized and accepted and normal. And they're taking this misogynist garbage and weaponizing the virtue and trying to attack me with it, and they don't even believe in it. It's truly upsetting, but I just can't be quiet because I don't know how. I couldn't live as anyone else other than me. I couldn't live as a man who wasn't trying to be his best self.
Let's stay on this. So you said president, then you brought in Putin.
Yeah.
So then that discourages for somebody to think they can make real change. Okay. So 2 questions. One, if you are the president today, I'm sure you've thought about it.
Yeah.
What policies would you attack? Right now in America, I watched RFK. I don't know if you listened to the recording yesterday.
I've heard.
What he said about the angle he would take with pharma. He says, all these things we're talking about guns. He says, how is it that we have the same amount of guns as Switzerland does per capita, but Switzerland hasn't had a school shooting in 21 years. We had it 21 hours ago. And we just had one last night, by the way, big one. I don't know, in Virginia, I want to say, right? 7 people shot just yesterday, right?
Every day there's something.
Every day. You're talking about fentanyl. You're talking about the drug. You're talking about LGBTQ. You're talking about military-industrial complex, economy, taxes. What would be top 3 issues you would attack if you were president today?
And that's so interesting because before I answer that question, that ties back into what we were saying earlier about men's mental health. They pretend they give a shit about men's mental health. But if you come along and actually advocate and tell men how to be happier. I've been a sad man and a happy man. I am a man. I know exactly how it feels on all ranges of emotion. And I'll be honest with you right now. When a man is sad, there is an inclination towards aggression. That's how we're born. That's how we're evolved. We're evolved with that inclination towards aggression. We need that to protect and provide. That's who we are. We need that bravery. But having a bunch of depressed, sad men who have no emotional control is dangerous for society. I say this all the time. They try and pretend that I'm somehow dangerous for society by telling men to stand up for themselves and be masculine. Absolutely not, really not. When you tell a man to have no emotional control and be more feminine, that's a school shooter. A school shooter is not a man with masculine accountability. He's a man who's told, act how you feel all the time. Then he gets picked on for long enough. Throw on some drugs on top his psychiatrist gave him. Throw in a lack of a girlfriend, and he's had enough.
You know what it is? It's what they're doing to men and women. They're malfunctioning their natural state. You know?
But they're switching them.
Yeah, but that's also malfunctioning. You know what I mean?
No, I mean that's basically a simple way to explain the malfunction. They want men to have go on their emotion, be more like feminine, and they want females to be
masculine.
Yeah, more independent and
Yeah. But basically, they're malfunctioning the robot to work in a different way than it's supposed to be working, and of course that creates chaos.
That's where school shooting comes from. School shooting does not come from men being masculine. It comes from the absolute opposite of these things, and they know this. They know.
And now they're doing it with the fucking genders. You know, like you have a dick, let it be. You have a pussy, let it be. That's how you were made. You know, you're not supposed to cut that shit off.
Know this very, very well. To fix society, we have to fix at the most base level, the root level. I think America and most countries need more transparency and understanding of how things work. But when they're attacking the family unit, they're attacking all of these issues. Every issue you've just labeled all starts back down to the beginning. I really think the reason, I would like to argue, and I don't know any of the statistics on this, in the 1950s, I'm sure there was prevalence of guns all around America, but there just wasn't the school shooting. Why? What was different?
Yeah.
What was different in the years before that there is now? I think it's just because children obeyed their parents, and their parents were a family, and there was a degree of responsibility that was instilled inside of people, and there's a degree of accountability, and also there was a degree of honor and pride.
Great question.
There's a degree of honor and pride.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something now. I bet in the 60s, 70s, whatever, in any country in the world, people didn't want to do dumb shit because the family would be known as criminals. The last name would be tarnished. Their son did this. You hear what their son did?
Exactly.
There was a vested interest in all of it.
That used to be even back in the 90s.
Yeah,
even
but much
early
more
2000s.
before.
Yeah.
Now you have a school shooter who's going to go out there, be a piece of shit and kill people, and then their parents are on TV, well, yeah, he was failed by the system. They don't even feel any shame. It's unbelievable. If one of my children or someone close to me did something that heinous, I would be disgusted. I would apologize just for the name alone. There's no honor left. There's no pride left in the name. And this is what happens when you remove honor and
That's
pride.
a big thing, I think. That is a big thing. That you have with taking away God, you're also taking away pride and the moral and honoring the family name and your ancestors. That's all gone now.
That's a disconnect somehow.
Huge
They have
disconnect.
disconnected even in the family, the family members from each other.
Pride from people. If you have no honor and no pride, nothing really matters. What matters anyway? It doesn't matter if you're out of shape. It doesn't matter if your kid's a piece of shit and a criminal. Nothing matters without honor and pride. And this is done on absolutely every
No,
level.
it's the opposite. If your kid's a piece of shit, you're getting support and you're getting, attention and everything. Back in the days, if your kid was a piece of shit, you got shit for that. You better straighten your kid up.
And that made it so that others who saw that, they would be like, oh shit, we don't want that happening in our family.
Exactly.
So that they, what an attack, huh?
Yeah.
What an attack. To Tristan the other day, I was actually saying we were driving, the other day, long time ago. I haven't left the house in a while. We were driving and I said, even on the most base level, I said, every building is ugly. Have you noticed that every single building is ugly?
We used to say that all the time.
Just because, it's all the same glass, big, square, ugly building. In the 1400s, we built these ornate, gorgeous buildings. And now everything's ugly. Why is that? And I'll tell you why it is. It's because they don't want you to have any intrinsic attachment to a specific place. If all the buildings are beautiful in a specific town, you have intrinsic attachment to that town.
Yeah.
You care about that town. You want good things for that town. You'll protect that town.
15-minute
You'll defend that
cities
town.
now, everything's going to look the same in every city,
Even, with video game consoles, back in the, they used to have some design.
Yeah.
Now it's a box.
Yeah.
Like, put it there. Like this, I think it has to do with this.
But also with the
technology.
video games itself, like now everyone can do fantastic graphic. So basically every video game looks the same. Back in the days, you had to be creative to stand out,
It became more artistic. Yeah. It's this modernization technology thing that is, because it's more effective to make a building a box rather to have a
No,
nice
it's also more
design.
space. You're gonna, crank a lot of people into one space.
Yeah. So it's a machine running this world. Man.
What is that? That's a barrier. That's a parameter. If everything looks the same all the time, you'll just move. Who cares? Oh, they've messed
That's
up San
true.
Fran. Who cares? I'll move somewhere else. Let's move somewhere else. It's all the same. Globalism doesn't matter. It's all the same. Buildings in Berlin and New York, they all look the same. Where's all the beauty gone? When there's beauty, you have an attachment to that beauty. They want to remove all your attachments from everything. Even now, when they try and psyop you into, let's say, the way that models all look different than they used to before, right? Models all look different.
Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, and I was arguing this point. Someone's saying, oh, that's because you have Eurocentric beauty standards. I said, no. I'm going to correct you, because I know you think you sound smart using the word Eurocentric. I'm going to correct you because you're a dumbass. Let me tell you what beauty standards are. Beauty standards, by definition, for something to be beautiful, has to at least be unique. If everything is beautiful, then it's not beautiful. If everything is beautiful, then it's standardized. For you to take a model who looks the way they look without any effort at all, and they look like most out of shape, uninteresting people on the street, you cannot call that beautiful because it's standardized. You can see it everywhere. Beauty means it must have
And
been
it's also
difficult
forced beauty. They will tell you, she's beautiful. And I'm like, no, she's not. Or she's not beautiful. But they're telling you that you better think that she is beautiful.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're fat phobic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fat phobic. I don't want to be fat myself. And I don't care. I don't want others to be fat either.
Yeah.
I'm fat phobic, man.
Obtain. Whether it's a building, it's difficult to make because it's ornate, or a woman who's trained really hard to have a beautiful figure, that is difficult. Difficulty and beauty are linked. You can't have beauty without difficulty. You cannot show me another model and tell me that my Eurocentric beauty standards are saying she isn't hot, because that's not why. She isn't hot because she's made no effort. She hasn't tried. That's why. And they're doing this with everything. Everything is
Laziness.
ugly. Nothing has a standard. Nobody has to try for anything. No parameter. No baseline belief of what's true and what's false. Everything's subjective. Your truth. No, there's the truth. There's no such thing as your truth. And this is an attack on every single level. They're assaulting us from everywhere, even the buildings they build.
Your truth. There's something they're trying with that shit. I think it is so that you can deny reality. If you got your truth, then, it's like your own little world.
Yeah.
You're making up your own bullshit rules now. This is your truth. There is no objective truth. I say it's the simplest thing to object. Like when somebody says there is no objective truth, I say, if I take this glass and smash it in my head, won't I have coffee and blood running?
Yes.
That's an objective truth right there. There is no denying that.
Are assaulting you, so you can't even just drive through a town and go, wow, look how much energy has been put into this place. I love this place. I will not allow them to do it to this place. Now it's just like, we can move there. Let's move there. It's all the same anyway. It's all a Starbucks on the corner and a 7-Eleven. Who cares?
Yeah, you have no attachment to it.
It's all the same. Why fight? Why fight for any of it? It's all done purposefully. I'm telling you, there's...
And also, it's speaking about, 7-Eleven and Starbucks and so, they are like robot stores. Everyone looks the same inside. The people act the same. It's the same taste of the coffee and the sandwich. It made me think about the other day when we went into a small store.
Yeah.
Like small, you couldn't even tell from the outside that it was a store if you didn't, look close.
Yeah.
Went in, looks nothing like the supermarkets, but it's the vibe is nice.
It was a family-owned small store.
I loved it. They were so nice. They were so helpful. They were grateful that we were there and
it felt like you went back to the 90s.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't
I
technological.
never wanted to leave. And you looked at all the different things they had, and you could really feel, I don't know how
Felt
to
more
explain
human,
it. Yeah, it did.
warmer.
I loved it. Even if it cost like almost double, I still want to shop there. Part to support them, to keep it going, but also for myself, because I loved walking in there, the warm smile, the help, the service, everything.
Yeah, the supermarket feels so stiff, stale, cold.
Everyone
unhuman.
is dressed the same. Horrible, yeah.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theorists call me crazy. I don't understand why an architect would now decide, who hires an architect?
Right.
I'm going to build that building. Let me hire an architect to come up with the same sketch of the same bullshit building, which is already existing everywhere. How
You don't need that. An AI can make a box perfectly well.
much did I pay him? Yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to build a skyscraper made of grass that looks like every other one. Is that it? We did all this 600 years ago. We built cathedrals, and now we build this crap? Why? Everything is on purpose. It's all a psyop. It's all a psyop. When they put these models on there, the psyop is, you don't have to try. You don't have to try at anything. Don't try. Doesn't matter. Just don't try. Wait for the government. We'll give you some food stamps. You'll be okay. It's
Participation trophy.
It's slavery. It's slavery. When you need to do every single thing they say to eat, that's their end goal.
What do you say? There are when you turn out the fire. Like we have fire inside of us. Like when we go after something we like, there's a fire inside.
With the side.
They wanna diminish that fire and make you sluggish and like you have no
care,
drive,
no
fire.
standards, no.
You become fat, you're miserable. They wanna kill that fire inside.
That's what they want. It's slavery. They don't want you trying anything. Even going to the gym today is an act of rebellion. Even being in good physical condition is an act of rebellion. If I put up a photo of me and I'm in good physical shape, there are people who write underneath it, oh, you're dumb, you train so good. They insult you for it. Like, you're a bad person because you have standards for yourself. That's the level of bug man they want to get you to. Of course, these people will give up meat and eat the bugs and live in the pod. Of course they will. They have no standards. They have no self-respect. No
Eat the bugs. We have a great opportunity to eat the bugs.
standards. Of course they can live in an ugly building, a big, ugly matrix pod. That's all they want.
Is it somebody has to sell you on that? Or is it going back to conditioning? Or what would it be? Is it someone selling you or is it conditioning?
And it goes back to my original point about the family. I do believe that the reason we didn't have so many problems before is because I believe the families had standards. And some cultures still do. I have friends who are Chinese. My dad, I cannot not get an A. That's just their culture. When my dad was still alive and he was teaching chess, my dad would charge $400 or $500 an hour for chess lessons. And towards the end of his life, he goes, all of my students are Chinese or Indian. Nobody else wants to spend money, $500 an hour to teach a kid chess. Only the Chinese and Indians will spend that money to make sure their kid is that good. So that's it. They're the ones who invest the most in their children. They still care on that level. But most families don't wake up and go, I want my children to act a certain way for the legacy, for the family name as a whole. I'm instilling standards upon them.
No, because now it's individual. The child the child gets to choose. What do you want to be? What do you want to do after school? Oh, you don't like school? Well, we can get you in extra school, or you don't need to go to school, or the children are, the rulers now of the family.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so inverted.
Yeah. Listen, I think we're gonna stop here today and continue tomorrow.
Oh shit, there might be a part 3 now.
Yeah, but I gotta have to.
But this is almost 2 hours. But hold on. Let me just read the comments before we go. What's up, Lost Misto? What's up, Mario? What's up, Juan? Top G. What's up, Walhall? Hail, Andrew and Tristan. Top G. Tate, Trump, and Elon. Yeah. Elon, I mean, he does good things, but I don't know his motives yet. You know what I mean? I think women push each other like men because biologically it's not needed. Men need to be stronger, and stronger women need to protect the home and the kids because the home will collapse without them.
As they did. Now we can see that.
What's up, Rumble Talk? Speaks the truth in a world full of lies. Yeah. I say this. Anybody that speaks the truth, you're holding a torch of truth. Big, small, whatever.
Yeah.
As long as you're holding the torch of truth, they will come after you no matter who the fuck you are. Men push each other. Yes. What's up, Hossein? Yeah. All right, we'll have to do a part 3. This is a long ass interview, but also we'll eventually do. They're gonna do an emergency.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
We're gonna do it too.
Do that too. But thanks for sticking with us here. But also, if you wanna follow us on Rumble. This channel we got on YouTube is just temporary bullshit because they always
go to Rumble either way. We need to build up Rumble.
Yeah, they always delete us from YouTube, so I have to keep making new channels and shit. But
and support Rumble also.
Vince Feline Discuss is what we're called. It should be in the description somewhere. Anyways, see you guys on the next one.
God bless you.
Peace out.